Hey, I'm Del Weston. You have joined me once again for the most incredible podcast going on in the world today. It's called Interius. And on this show, we get down to the inside of everything that is anything. Today, we have a very special guest coming on the show. She is a model, an actress, a singer, a personality, and of course, a social media influencer. But there's something deeper to Jillisa Lynn. I worked with her for the first time in a film called Sonny and Ray Ray. She has broken me for any and every other actress I have ever worked with. And I say this because when she came to me, she hadn't done any features yet, but I saw something in her, and that thing has never left. I have the same amount of affection for her that I had the first moment I met her, when I realized that I was in the room with talent greater than my own. There were a number of people who we surrounded her with in that film, and Harry Lennox, Carmen Argenziano, Bobby Eakes, and a few other really talented people who'd been around a long time. And she held her own so great that they had nothing to do but to get behind her and support her in her film, Sonny and Ray Ray. But she's gone and done so much more since then. I want to welcome to the show, without any further ado, the great, the talented, the beautiful, the endearing Jillisa Lynn.
Hi, oh my God, what an introduction. Thank you so much.
All my introductions are true. Hey, do I have your permission to tape your name, face, voice, and likeness for the purpose of this podcast, broadcast, video cast, and anything else I want to do with it?
Absolutely, I'm honored to be here.
Oh, man. Hey, I haven't seen you in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
Can you tell me what's going on? What's been happening with you?
I've just been working. I've been working on my second album. I started a clothing boutique with one of my girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on a new CBD line that I just launched recently, and just continuing to be creative. I got to do, like you said, I went on to do a couple other movies and films and a nice little sitcom, and I've just been working and trying to stay consistent. And now,
when I first met you, you have not a naivete, but an innocence that I think a lot of actresses who are in Hollywood now just don't have. And it comes across as a kind of vulnerable attitude and a vulnerability that allows people to feel as if they know you when they don't. Do you find that in your life that people...
You know what? It's very interesting that you said that. Today I was filling out because I just got hand-selected for the Max magazine cover girl competition. And the winner will win $25,000. So it's going to be a big voting thing that's going to start in a couple weeks. So I will need you guys to help vote.
We are behind you, as we've always been.
Thank you. But the question was, like, what's one of your hidden talents? And, like, instead of saying what I feel like everybody else would have said, I did throw that I like to cook in there, which is rare these days in 2020. But I said that my talent was, healing people and making people feel like they've known me their whole lives within 10 minutes, and being able to show them, a different kind of love so they can find the tools in their box to really, give energy. I said energy is a talent. Like, illuminating a light and sharing it with somebody to uplift them is a talent. And I think that that's something that I possess, and I am honored that you just acknowledge that, because I literally just wrote that today. And I was like, I'm not even being conceited saying that. It's like, I really do make people feel good, because there's a lack of sunshine in this world. And so I'm here to spread it.
You made me feel bad. You made me feel bad once, and I'm going to have to be honest and bring it out, because
oh my gosh,
when you write a script or you put something together and you need talent such as yours to make it sing, you have to understand that the trade-off of the power between the director and the talent comes very quickly if the director is a good director. And the reason for that is this: a good director will trust the person that he's hired. Now, it's obvious you've got looks. I mean, that's not a question. I don't think there's ever been a question in your life. People will come to you like a moth to a flame because of your beauty. But there are so many things beneath that I found myself privy to. And one of the moments that stands out to me from my time working with you was on the first day of shooting. I think we were in Toluca Lake, at a house in Toluca Lake. And I had decided, after having been burned on 2 film projects, that I would shoot the nudity first, the love scenes first. And the reason for that is that sometimes people change as a film process goes, and they decide, well, I don't want to do this now. I don't want to do that now. I never had that fear with you, But on the very first day, you became very, very nervous.
I
And
really was nervous. It was
you
like,
were so,
yeah,
and I
that
thought,
character itself was,
well,
very
the
tough.
character of Sunny was someone who's very, very close to me. And she's a real character. She's a real person.
Yeah.
And when I wrote her from that person's, in my experience with that person, I didn't think I'd be able to find. In fact, we hired and fired 6 or 7 girls by the time you came. You were the last one, and the way we got you was you came in out of the blue, man. I was about to cancel the project. I mean, we had the money and everything was in place. I couldn't find the girl. And you came in, and you were so bold and so ready and so prepared. And I said, what happened that this young lady will not let an opportunity pass her by? What happened? Because you originally came from the New York area, right?
Yes.
Tell me about New York. What was New York like?
New York, gosh, so I grew up in New York. I also lived in Florida for a little while. I went to 16 different schools because I moved
why 16?
a lot. I have a really young mom. She had my sister when she was 14, me when she was 16, and my brother when she was 19. So we moved around a lot. She was divorced when I was 5 and then, remarried.
What does that do to a 5-year-old girl in Florida? What does
New York?
What is the thought of a 5-year-old girl who knows that daddy's not coming home anymore? What is that like?
Well, here's the thing: is like it actually was my brother's father. So I have like 3 dads. Mm-hmm. So I have my brother's father who raised me till I was 5. I have my real father who we can thank for these blue eyes. Oh. And then I have my stepfather who's like been there, since I was 14 through all the heartbreaks. But, when I was 5, I don't think I really realized. I didn't really start being affected until about like 8, 9, 10, when, my mom was with a not so good man. And, we had a really rough life because we had to move a lot and transfer from school.
How did she make it? How was she made it through all this? How is she now?
She's doing amazing. She's been married happily for 17 years. I have a 10-year-old sister who's a blessing. And, I call him our superhero. It's like he came in and saved us. We are pretty unstable. She was a younger mom just trying to,
this is your stepdad, the father number 3.
Yeah, father number 3.
So he came in, he's a good guy, he's taking care of things, he's doing the right thing, and he's not bothering you.
No, he's amazing. He came in and he was like a friend, he was like, what do you guys need? And, he didn't try too hard and he wasn't, trying to be enforcing of things. And it was good. It was like what we needed to be able to heal because, I did go to 16 different schools and I did live a rebellious life. I was suspended.
Tell me what that means. What does I lived a rebellious life mean? Tell me what that means.
Like I was like that troubled child, I was always the new kid. So I was either bullied or, I would talk back to the teachers or I would fight or I would get in trouble or I would get suspended, I would get expelled. I was running around. I was just talking to my mom about it the other day. I was like, my little sister has such a structured life. When I was younger, I was running around in the streets and like hanging out with kids and smoking and like doing things that I shouldn't have been doing at a young age because I didn't really have like the structure or the influence because she was working hard to, make sure we have food on the table or provide for us. And, often that led to moving in different schools and, it made me feel like I've never really had structure in my life. I've always moved and it's always been a part of why I adapt to things so much and why my drive is, is so high in my ambition.
Do you trust men now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do trust
Why?
men. Because at the end of the day, I think that everyone's different and you go through certain things to learn what you want or what you don't want. And you become, like a whole and by yourself. So that that person that comes into your life is somebody who's just going to add to you and not somebody who, makes you complete or makes you love yourself because I know what I have to offer as a woman. And it's not just my looks. It goes so much, deeper than that. So I demand certain things in a relationship. And if those things aren't met, then there's no reason to continue on in a relationship. I'm going to be 32 at this point.
You're 32. You look like a little tiny baby.
When we did Sunny and Ray Ray, God, how old was I? That was in 2000.
13.
12,
Yeah.
13.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 8 years ago, I was like 23, 24. So it's like, I'm going into a different phase in my life. So I'm just like,
To your credit, you didn't fade away. There are so many young women from a decade ago that I know who were trying to do work, who were in the industry, they were taking classes, they were going to school, but they just didn't have it. They didn't have that that superpower that would allow them to stay. Well, I think the it factor is a different thing. The it factor is when you have something that everyone wants a piece of, right?
Yes.
And then there's something else for people who are driven, and that is the interior desire and motivation to move themselves forward at their own rapid pace and to succeed along the way. Because a lot of people don't understand, success is not, I made it once and then look at me now. Success is how you live your life through all the ups and downs.
Exactly.
And how you treat yourself and others. That's success. I understand. I've been around more millionaires and billionaires than I can count now. And
I believe it.
Yeah. And I can tell you that I see a lot of people who are happier, who are looking at the daily doses of success. And they mean that, they treat people well and they're well respected and they're loved. And they have a drive to continue past where others say that I made it. And I think that you're one of those people. So the reason I wanted to talk to you about some of the things in your past and then hopefully your future as we get more toward the end of the show is that when I met you and you came in on that first day we were talking about, you were so nervous. And I found that so endearing. And the reason for it was I recently did a film called Trick that I star in, and it was directed by Stan Harrington. And I had a co-star who I thought was going to be magnificent, and it turned out to be 180 degrees away from that. And I know why it did. I'm not, I have no pretense. I have no pretensions about who I am and what I do. But when people are unsure, sometimes they make grand mistakes that will cost them for a very long time. And I watched that. But you learned from everybody. You were a chameleon and a butterfly. You'd fly from one person to the next and you'd pick up little things. And I thought to myself, this girl has it. She knows what's going on.
Thank you.
What made you
learn so much?
What have you learned? What have you learned?
I still feel like I quote her. I mean, just like the obedience of really just drilling and learning a character and not even just like memorizing the words, but learning the trials that she went through. And
how did you memorize that entire script in 2 days?
And it was 3 weeks. It was 5,300 words in 3 weeks that I memorized.
It wasn't 3 weeks, and I'll tell you why. Because that movie had been in pre-production for almost 4 months, 5 months, and then it went into production for 3 months, and then went into proposed for almost a year. So for someone to walk in, I said, "Is she going to be able to learn her lines?" So we hired you on a Wednesday. We started shooting on a Friday.
I know. Crazy.
So that was 2 days, and you didn't miss a beat. You knew your lines. You were professional. You were on time, and I just don't. What gave you that ability to do those things and to understand what you needed to be successful? Where did you learn that? Where'd you get that work ethic?
What's crazy is that I was never a strong reader in school, and but I'm very good at memorizing. So once I was able to like read the script and you guys helped me channel the character to realize the things that she had been through and how, much pain she was in, but how much she wanted a better life and how much she was able to have one if she could just navigate through these crazy relationships that she was consuming. And it's like, once I had her feelings down, I was able to just memorize it almost like a song. Like I would go through each scene and like just recite it to myself as like, a little melody, like with a song. So it's funny because afterwards I would get into a fight like with, like a boyfriend at the time, and I'd recite the line. Like there would be a line in the movie and I'd be like, it's not all sunshine and Care Bears, okay? Like I'm over here. Where'd you get that from?
I wrote that script from life, and I got to tell you, I wrote 3 other scripts that I thought were perfect for you. Now you made some changes 2 years back, and I did a film called Victims. And you joined us again.
I've still never seen it.
A lot of people want to see it, and I got to tell you something. We did a film with Joe Pesci called Behind the Gate in 20.
I remember.
Yeah, and it just got released on Amazon Prime now, and it's doing really well. It's really doing well. Yeah, but my stuff, I found in my life that I take longer than most people. And I don't really care. I've owned art galleries. I've sold art. I used to be a graphic designer. I used to be a fine artist. I've all these wonderful things, but I always work in my schedule. And I found that the more that you give other people power over what you do and how you do it and how you complete, the less of it is you. Now, if it's a paid gig, that's a whole nother issue. But when it's like your album, for instance, tell me about the first album. How long did it take to make, and how much of that is you and how much of it is not you?
Well, here's the thing. The first album, honestly, it was thrown together. Like, so this album.
Tell me about I want to know about the first one first.
So basically it was just like, I released a bunch of singles. My agent at the time, who like helped with so much of my career, who was amazing, was like, you know what, let's just put it together, make an album. We'll name it 6/6, your birthday, and we'll put it out. And then like afterwards, I'm like, oh my God, there's like 4 songs I probably wouldn't have put on that album. So this album, I mean, it's been taking me 3 years to make, and now the situation that we're in, it's going to be a little bit longer.
Whoa. What do you mean the situation we're in? What does that mean? See, this is what Interius is about. What situation are we in?
I'm just saying the quarantine that we're in right now.
Does that stop you from going to the recording studio?
It does, yeah. So I need to, and it stops me from shooting the cover, and it stops me from doing all the little rollout things that I need to do. So I'm really close to being finished, and honestly, it just gave me time to give myself a new routine and to read more and to set some new goals. So I'm not too upset with it. But like I said, the first album was not really that thought out. It was just like, oh, we made a bunch of songs, let's put it together. So this album is like a story. There's like songs dedicated to my family. There's songs about my heartbreak. There's songs about me healing and songs about me not caring. So it's like it's called Mixed Emotions, which is very good for my Gemini self, because I'm all of mixed emotions.
Well, if you're Gemini, there's 2 of you, and both of them are crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, both of them's crazy.
I've got like 19 Gemini women around. I've got like 19 Gemini women around me, including my wife. And I got to tell you, I don't know who I am sometimes. I don't know who I am sometimes. I really don't.
That's why I love her so much.
She talks about you. She always, whenever I write a script, she says, I wonder if Julissa would do this. And I gotta say, every part is not right for every person.
I know,
very specific things, but you have that that charm and that ability to transform and to feel. And so many actresses who say they're actresses and talented people, what they really are internet models. And I see them all the time, and they come. Well, no, I'm not trying to be nasty to them, but they're not.
No, I said it's true.
But they're not the other thing. They are not what they say they are. And I can only be defined by what I do, and what I do is I write, produce, and direct.
Right.
I do live events. I own a magazine. Blah blah blah. All that stuff means that I have to be working constantly.
Right.
So, what I'm getting at is this album that you're doing now. How much of it is you compared to the first album?
Oh, this one's like so much more me. I mean, I wrote 5 of the songs on it. I hand selected the other ones with amazingly talented writers. And it's just a lot more work has been put into it. A lot more just thought and feeling, emotions. And
what did you do different? What did you do differently now for this album that you didn't do for the other one?
The first one, I was just trying to find my sound. It was all over the place. I had like an R&B and a hip hop and a this and a that. And it was just all over the place. Like, it wasn't mixed properly. I didn't get it mastered properly. I didn't really know about all of that stuff because I was literally just learning the arts of it and just trying. So now you did good numbers with it though. Yeah, I did. And I was just this one, I was just much more able to be hands-on and like able to be there during the mixing process. And I'm going to be there during the mastering process to make sure when you go into each song, it sounds the same. You know, I just have learned so much from the first album to this album that you'll be able to hear it in my sound and in like the harmonies or in the runs or just the message that's behind the whole thing is like.
Well, John Popper told me once, he said, the hook always brings you back.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that.
I
love that. The hook will bring you back.
Me too. That's a great
phrase. That's a great phrase.
Yeah.
Came out here at the age of
21.
You came alone. You drove in your own car.
I actually shipped my car, and I came with $500.
Now, I don't go out to dinner with less than $500.
You cannot do that nowadays in LA.
Because I'll tell you something, everywhere I go, I see somebody I owe. Like, oh, yeah, I'll give you some money. Here's $50. And I get away from me. I never want to see you again. Mm-hmm. How do you come out to California from from New York with $500? What is the faith?
Because I'm from upstate New York, Rochester, New York. So it's a little town. I was a bartender for 3 years at a place called Smokin' Joe's, and I had so much support from like all the customers that would come in there, the owner, you know, if I had an audition in New York City and had to drive, I had so much support. But the thing is that I was missing something. I was already modeling for 2 years. I had an opportunity to come out here and live. And I was like, I'm going to save up $500. Because in my mind where I lived, that was quote unquote
that's a lot of money. Yeah.
You know, so I didn't realize like $500 there is like $20 in LA. So long story short, I was able to stay with like this amazing couple that let me live with them, Maria and Carlo Gomez, and I lived with them for a little while. And I signed with an agency, 90210 Talent, and I just kind of ripple affected. I started booking jobs. I did 30 music videos my first year. I started booking like hosting gigs, and I was working for like different companies like Mike and Ike's and all these different brands. And I just hustled and I just kept going. And I was like, I'm not going back to New York, and I'm going to make the most of it. And a couple of years then I started doing the music, and just the acting kind of fell into my lap because like I said, I wasn't a strong reader, but my agent was like, you have this look, you have to get in an acting class. You have to learn like and hone the craft of it. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I could be around all these people. These classes are a little, so Sunny and Ray Ray was such a blessing to me because they came in right at that time.
Yeah. And you didn't, by the way, you didn't need the classes. You needed a good role and a good.
I came in right at the time where I was like starting to really learn the craft. And like you guys taught me so much. Like you said, all those amazing people that were on set taught me so much. And it's like, okay, this is something that now I love to do. And after that, I was able to hone in on that a little. And I feel like just in LA, you need to do as many things as you can in order to, you know, keep valuable and to keep going.
Of all those things, what's your favorite thing to do?
Good question. I love music and dance just because I came from that. But I feel like acting is the most challenging for me and something that is liberating for me once I do finish a project or learn the character or, like you said, memorize something, because it's something that I never thought, like saying, so Sunny and Ray Ray happened at the perfect time because it just enabled me to learn it. And then you asked me what books I was reading.
Yeah. What are you reading now?
So I read The 4 Agreements, The Mastery of Love.
Love it.
I'm reading The Detox Manual.
Good.
I'm reading The Master Key System, which is a really good book. It's all about your mental. And then my prayer book, which is something that I read every day. So they're all like mental health books. They're all spiritual, and they're all books that are going to help me from within so that the without world is just as peaceful.
What is, I don't want to get too personal, but what do you believe? What do you know?
What do I believe? What do I know?
Yeah, what do you know?
I know are you saying religiously or spiritually?
I just asked the question. You can answer it the way you see fit.
I believe in God. I believe that there's a higher power. I believe in the universe. I believe that there was a lot of very blessed people who created a Bible, and it's something that is a testimony to their experience and things that they have been through in the world. And it's just meant to inspire people. And whether you believe in it or whether you believe in the universe or whether you believe in just doing good for people, I believe that, what you put out is what comes back to you. And I believe in the law of power and the law of attraction, and your thoughts are like magnets. I believe that like people hold on to like emotional wounds from things that they've been through and use those as excuses to inflict pain on other people. And so I just believe in being a good person, and I believe in living in a high faith because that's what's important.
I've never heard you say one negative thing about anybody. I can honestly say that in the industry that we work in, backbiting is an art. And I have never once, no matter who said what or did what, I have in almost a decade of knowing you, I have never once heard you say one negative thing about anyone else.
Thanks.
And I don't.
Sure, there's been a time or two, but I'm always like, God forgive me. I had a thought that came out of my mouth.
I know, but the thing is that you're above it, and so few people can do that. So few people can say, okay, listen, this is me, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, and I don't have time for anything else.
Exactly.
Wow, what a wonderful gift. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to talk to you about modeling, because the modeling used to be different than what it is now.
Yeah.
It's much different. And I want to talk about it. You're watching Interius. My special guest today is the beautiful and talented Jillisa Lynn. I almost hate to say beautiful, because once you say that, you negate everything else that's inside that beautiful package, that wonderful, magnificent, talented, smart, savvy,
thank you,
intuitive, loving, forgiving, understanding, and faith-filled person. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Hey, we're back on Interius. My special guest, Jillisa Lynn. I'm Del Weston, your host. I want to talk to you about modeling. I heard that there's a funny joke going on. It says that Instagram went down for 3 hours and 9,000 women lost their jobs as internet models.
Well,
and I got to tell you,
it would hurt me.
I've worked with models, and I've worked with actresses, and I've worked with hacks. You are not a hack. You are glamorous and professional and strong. What's it like for young girls out there who say, I want to be a model one day like Jillisa Lynn? What's it like? Tell me about, like, in 2 minutes, I want you to tell me about your entire modeling experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, and what a young girl should look forward to.
Well, guys, my advice would be, so I started modeling when I just got out of high school. I was bartending at the time. I didn't know what I was doing. I had a manager at the time, Reggie Warren, who's amazing, who took me under his wing. We started creating portfolios. The most important thing to do is create content, create a portfolio, and try and find an agency. Me, back then, I was young. I didn't really know, about researching and I lived a very sheltered life. I didn't have a computer growing up. Like, I barely had a phone. I lived a just very different life. And so once, I learned about the agencies and stuff, it was a different story. But Model Mayhem is a very great outlet for models coming up if they want to get involved with just trade photography and able to, build your portfolio. It takes so many shoots to get comfortable in front of the camera. I remember when, I did my first probably 10 shoots. I liked maybe 2-3 pictures. Now there's 2-3 pictures that I don't like, and it's, a lot harder to narrow things down. So, modeling is like an art. So it's create the content that you want to share. I mean, some people like to be, more high fashion. Other people like to be more glamorous. Like me, I love the human body. I love art. So I use, I do a lot of body paint. I was in Playboy in 2017. So I like to glorify just the woman's body in an artistic, tasteful way. And, with that comes a lot of heat too. And there may be things that I may not be able to get monetized for certain reasons or whatever, what have you. But I think at the end of the day that people take the message that I send with my art as something so much more, than just the art itself. So modeling, luckily, there's so many different avenues. There's print modeling, and there's beauty modeling, and there's fashion. And I've been blessed.
Tell me about the gig itself. Tell me about
I've been blessed to be able to do all of it, but it's definitely hard. It's a struggle. I mean, it just depends what avenue you want to go in. I mean, I luckily was at the time where there was a lot of video models and everything was still coming up. Now things are more saturated. So online it's about endorsement and branding deals and, working with different clothing boutiques and different companies. So it's really a struggle if you're not a high-end, high fashion model and you want to be a glamour print model. Nowadays it's just very oversaturated. So I think that as long as you're doing
What do you mean it's oversaturated? What is it?
It's oversaturated. Everyone, like you said, is a model. Everyone's an Instagram model. So it's becomes oversaturated in a sense of,
well, I
it's
mean,
harder for you to get seen, for recognized for doing something differently because all the girls are doing it, you know? So
but
like,
it's
you
not
have to
just that
set-
they're doing it. It's that some of them are doing it and they're pushing boundaries, right?
right.
Like as soon as someone goes nude, then you all have to go nude. As soon as
Yeah.
someone goes nude and does a certain type of nudity, then all of them. And what happens is you erase the baseline,
Right.
and pretty soon there's no baseline from which you can achieve any modicum of quality unless you're working in the very, very, very high ranks. Is there a place for the models who say, listen, I'm going to sell picture sets. I'm going to be a brand influencer. I'm going to be a social media maven. I'm going to make money. I'm going to be seen, and it will give me the platform I need for all of my other artistic endeavors. Is that where you are?
Yeah, I think like for me, it's like Instagram has really been a blessing for me because I put so much time into it. And when I say time, I mean like 6 hours a day for like 4 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like I put a little time into it and post it. It's like I literally sat for 6 hours a day and showed people love and engaged with people's accounts and really gave back. And that's free game.
Of course.
So like really, it takes that amount of time. It's like you can't put in 2 hours into something and expect results like in a week. No, it's like I literally, like, you could look at my screen time, it'll be like 9 hours in your screen today, and 6 hours of that was on Instagram showing love back to the 400 people that commented on my page. So it's like I've been able to use that platform to really like leverage and gain a lot more, you know, recognition for a lot of the work that I've done before Instagram ever even existed. Like, and it's just really helped leverage all my other things, you know, and enable me to like have that like platform of creativity that I'm able to share with people. And it's like, either you're going to like it or you're going to look.
Right. Hey, what do men do wrong?
What do men do wrong?
Yeah. What do men nowadays do wrong?
I don't really know. I mean, I think like dating just in general is maybe weird for people now because of like just all the temptation or the social media and stuff like that. People are weird. Like they don't.
Is it hard to have a monogamous relationship now?
No, not at all. I mean, I've had a relationship for 3 years, so I'm, you know, I've been extremely blessed. And I think that if you find somebody who compliments you and supports everything that you do, and, you know, you should go with it. But I also think it's something to keep private, which is why the half of the world doesn't even know, you know, and won't know until I make it, you know, known, or I'm comfortable making it
It's
known.
funny that people say that they want to be in the public eye and they want to be famous and they want the paparazzi. They want all these things.
Yeah.
But then the moment that someone says, "Hey, Bill," they're like, "Hey, man, I want my privacy. Shut up. Leave me alone."
Yeah, no, I'm not.
You
really
can't
like
have
that.
both. You can't. I don't. Well, you know, I'm not talking about you per se, but I'm saying that
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out for the young people that are coming up now. In a lot of ways, movies has betrayed a lot of people because you have the bottom falling out with things like Amazon Prime and all these services are paying a penny a view for a 90-minute feature, and you go, "Oh, that's pretty low." But then when you think about it, the competition's so high. Maybe you should make a better film, or maybe you should take a better picture. Maybe you should be more beautiful.
Right.
Maybe get a better makeup artist, or maybe have a new producer do your music to take it to a higher level.
Right.
I'm asking you, not necessarily for advice, but for experience. What have you done to ensure the future of Jillisa Lynn and the success of Jillisa Lynn?
I think that goes into a lot of like brand and marketing and product deals. As far as outside of my brand, you know, just continuously being able to book the work and having my little plan that I have for the next phase of my life that I'll share when the time comes. But
see, I don't. But wait, no, Gemini, stop it, because you hit it right on the head. I know that you are a force to be reckoned with, and you have a plan.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want people to understand. She's got some bobblehead floating around with 2 breast implants and carpet.
Well, I don't have any implants or nothing.
I know you don't. So. You're all natural. But no. I'm trying to. I want people to understand that, but I can't say it because you know this whole thought now that every man is an abuser and every man is this, and you know that's all crap. You know, it's just such a piece of garbage. My position is that you are all natural and you are unique and you are special.
Thank you.
For a lot of reasons. And it's not just the way you elicit a response from some guy who's flipping through the pages of a magazine or scrolling through an internet website because you look the way you look. I'm trying to figure out, because there are plenty of attractive women who are not worth the dress they're wearing. I'm trying to figure out how a young girl who's been through the history that you've talked about, 3 fathers, 16 homes, 16 schools, 16 places, all early on. And here you sit with me almost a decade after you and I worked together, a little less because of victims, but here we are sitting. My wife produces all my shows. She produces everything I do. So she's a producer for this endeavor as well. And she calls you, we're talking 24 hours later, and I'm still amazed by you. But I want the world to understand why. How did you understand that you have to have a plan that goes year by year and then it switches up for a new phase? How did you even come up with that?
I think a lot of it has to do with, again, where I came from and just the ability to adapt to different things and to know that like you have to know exactly what you want. Otherwise you can't get it. You can't go search for something that you don't know what you want. So the things that I wanted to come to Los Angeles. I wanted to be in movies. I wanted to be in Playboy. I wanted to have music. I wanted to do, and it's like strategically have been placed. The next phase of my life, like I want to get married, I want to have a child, like I want to have a family, it's like there's a whole nother phase that, and I'll go into the baby deals and the mom branding and the cards and bring on the merchandise.
What has been your greatest success since you started so far, do you think?
I'm sorry, what?
What has been your greatest success since you started so far?
My greatest success, aside from like my overall brand, I'm proudest of, I can't really say one thing because I'm in my mind, it's like a couple of things. It's like, I'm proud
throw them out there. This is your
I'm proud
hour.
that I got into Playboy because that was one of my big goals. I'm proud that I'm working on my second
Do
album.
people judge you for being in Playboy?
No, not really. And if they do, they'll have to answer to my mom because she supports everything I do. And she's just, she's
was
like,
your mom like you when she was younger?
Yeah, oh my God, she still looks like me. She's beautiful.
No, I said, was she rebellious? Was she driven?
No, not at all. Because she had a child by the time she was 14, so she had to grow up really quickly. And she never drank, she never did drugs, she never went out with her friends. Like she was like literally the cookie cutter best, mom. Besides working a hard life and trying to hustle and handle couple things, but
okay, we were talking about what you're most proud of. So being in Playboy was one thing you really loved. What was another thing?
Yeah, and then my albums that I'm working on, and just all the projects that I'm doing right now. I think that going back to what you were asking about planning for the future, I think that just having merchandise and things to offer, like part of your brand is what will ultimately like secure a platform within this industry, because it's so wishy-washy and nothing's honest, whether it's a job you're going to book or the sales from your album or your t-shirts or your merchandise, whatever it is. So I think that's just creating something that
Are you selling merchandise now?
Yeah, I have merchandise on my store, and then I have merchandise on my boutique, which is Shop Today. My CBD is canaqueencbd.com, and my website is...
You got to slow down because I want to understand. What was the first thing? You said you had a boutique. You're selling stuff at what store? So
my boutique is Shop Today, JIDAE.com.
Okay.
And then Shop Canna Queen. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my Instagram. Shop Canna Queen is my Instagram. The website is canaqueencbd.com.
Now, how did you get involved with labeling CBD and getting your own line of CBD?
Well, I've always been into the hemp industry. And
why do you say it like that? I gotta tell you, a lot of people don't understand it. I don't have any problem with marijuana being legalized. I have zero problem with that.
Well, no, and CBD isn't even, CBD is the hemp.
I don't even care about the THC. I don't even care about that. Because I know from my own personal experience, because I had a couple of heart attacks, I know that the drugs they had me on are slowly killing me.
Right.
And if there's an alternative, I want the alternative. And if it happens to be THC or CBD or hemp or whatever, bring it to me, because you're killing me with this other stuff.
Yeah.
And we know that. And we know that the number one killer in the world pretty much is heart disease and the number two, cancer and heart disease. No one even mentions hunger anymore, even though I know that hunger is taking out a lot of people. But if hemp can do it and THC can do it, and it's not, what are you doing? Stop it. So I'm proud of you. Now,
thank you. So I think it's all about just something that I use. I've been prescribed different medications for depression, anxiety, sleep, Ambien, all this. And I never have taken it. I'm not into prescription drugs. So I'm more holistic, and I meditate and read books and smoke a little cannabis, CBD. So, I wanted it to be something that I believe in, that helps me, that can help
Do you
others.
remember 7 years ago, you promised to take me somewhere and allow me to smoke with you, that you would guide me through as if you were my Sherpa for my introduction into marijuana, but we never did it. And I'm so afraid.
It's okay.
I'll wait for you.
Okay.
Because
wait for me.
I have this image of how it would play out, and it's actually pretty cool. Because hear me out on this. I don't know why, and maybe I'm wrong, but we eat a lot of Captain Crunch during that time.
Captain Crunch is good.
See, so I know I'm not so far off. I'm getting a little excited. I got to calm myself down. We're almost done. We're almost done, and I hate to end with you, because you remind me of everything that is good in my professional life, and I mean that in a sense that we all have milestones. We all have moments of clarity, and we all have moments when we understand that there is something that we should be doing, and maybe we're doing it. And we were at the Legend Sports Bar in Long Beach shooting the film. And I looked over at you, and you were sitting in a booth, and you were reading your lines. And now the DP and the gaffers and grips were all doing the lighting and getting the next shot set, and the sound guy was checking mics, and the wardrobe people and everybody who was doing the data transfer were doing their jobs. And I'm kind of like just standing, and I'm looking at you, and I'm watching you. And I said, she is one of the reasons I'll succeed in my life. And I never forgot that.
I never
forgot that.
Yes, and then Amazon Prime, go Sunny and Ray Ray. Hopefully it comes.
No, we'll put it up. We're going to put it up through Nelson Baniston's indie rights. Lyndon Nelson's been very, very good with me, and
awesome.
she's the one that released Behind the Gate as well.
Yay!
So we're going to get that out so the world can see it. But
cool.
I have a project. I always do. I had sworn off a lot of stuff. I've gone more of the spiritual side now, more of the religious side, and I'm working, producing some very controversial work for some people who need to get a message out. So they hired me. Thank God. I'm very happy for that. But for you, has there been anything that you ever thought you wanted to do that you haven't done yet, or is not planned for by you now?
No, there's still some things in the plan, and I feel like they're gonna come to fruition. I'm just, planting the seeds and watching it all grow. We know it's a harvest season.
We do know it's a harvest, yeah. Julissa, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Interius. If you have a chance, you can see the video for this episode with Jillisa Lynn. We just went down deep into the everything of something that's anything. Thank you, Julissa.